Well, good morning. Jim Sunderwirth from the Swing here. Good to be with you. Hey, I've got a story for you today. Oh my goodness, we were talking about the serpents and all that yesterday and being born again. But then in Numbers 22, we begin a story that I'm sure you've heard of before. It's talking about Balaam, and he was being requested to come to Edom, or not Edom, but Moab, because the king. Now, yesterday I talked about that Moab was the nation that they didn't want to go through. It wasn't Moab, it was Edom that caused them to go down south to Sinai and back up the long trail where they complained. But now they come to a country that basically they weren't going to have to go through or anything, but the king, Balak, was extremely scared of this nation coming up and heading toward Canaan. So he went and found a prophet named Balaam. Now Balaam, he was called both a good prophet and a bad prophet. Now he was a good prophet because he, to some degree, they said he did listen to God, but he was more of a bad prophet because he ended up going to sorceries and to divinations and to witchcraft to get his answers. So basically he was basically a bad prophet. But anyway, so here comes Balak, the king of the Moab. He said, I got to get this guy because these children of Israel are coming up and I've got to curse them. So he sent to get him, and as he was on his way to talk to Balak, he was riding his donkey heading toward a place, because he was doing this for money, and he needed a little cash, so he's heading that way. Well, all of a sudden the donkey stops and turns to the left and runs into the field. And and Balaam said, "What's going on?" He beat that donkey, got him back on the road, was going down the road again, and all of a sudden the donkey saw an angel, and he was in a vineyard by a wall and leaned over and crushed Balaam's foot. And the Balaam cracked him 3 or 4 times and to get him going again. And finally, the third time that donkey saw this angel, I mean, you think God can't use you? He can use a donkey, because listen to what he did. That donkey stopped the third time and rolled over on top of Balaam, and Balaam beat him, and all of a sudden the donkey opened his mouth and spoke and said, "Why have you beat me 3 times? I'm trying to stop you. There's an angel in the pathway." And lo and behold, there was. And what a story it is. I mean, can God use a donkey? Yes, he can. And he can use anybody that and I guarantee he would if you see an angel. Anyway, so he saw the angel, and the angel said, "You know what? I'm going to let you go and be with Balak, but don't you say one word that I don't tell you to say." Now, Balaam went on and he met Balak, the king of Moab. This is found in Numbers 22, in that vicinity. And as he went to be with him and go to the different places to curse Israel, every time they went to the different places for 3 times, every time Balaam opened his mouth to curse them, there came out a blessing. There came out a blessing. You couldn't. I mean, it's just God. I mean, have you ever been in that situation where somebody upsets you and you open your mouth and you bless them? I need to do that on Port St. Lucie Boulevard. Anyway, so and it happened. Anyway, but what was the point I want to get across to you? He could not curse them 3 times because what God has blessed and what's underneath the blessing of God cannot be cursed. But you know what he did? In Revelation, as he was going away, and Balak sent him away without his money because he didn't do anything. As he was going away, he looked back and he said, "Now look, I can't get them out from under the blessing of God with a curse. But let me share something with you. If you will take your Moab women and you will go into their camp and you will infiltrate them, you will you can't get them out from under God's blessing, but you can get them to walk out from that blessing out of choice for sin." And you know what? That's what they did. Do you know that he sent his Moab women into the camp of the Israelites, and they were seduced, and as they were, now this is tough, it went right through, and they walked themselves out from under that blessing. Don't ever do that.
Yes.
Don't ever let sin get you to the point where it can walk you out. You think it's great, it won't last, and it'll take you away from the blessing. Sin takes you out from under the blessing of God. God has to work on you instead of working through you when that happens. And that's what happened. And there was a plague that came in. It was horrible, the thing that happened. And as Moses was praying and crying as they were trying to get this thing squared away, one of the guys came, Zimri came in with a Moab woman went into the tent, and there was Phinehas, which was the son of Eleazar, one of the priests. He went in and killed both of those people in the tent because they were right before God. They were doing this horrible thing, this sin. He went in and killed them, and when he did that, God blessed Phinehas. And the curse was off, and the people began to get right with God again. Now, what am I saying? God's blessed us. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit. Live the life to where God can continually to keep the curse off. Don't walk out from under the blessing. Don't let anything, sin or any kind of frustration or anger, bitterness, whatever, get you out from under that blessing, because God will protect you there. But He does give you the choice. And they made the wrong choice. But thank God, He brought them back. And we'll continue on with the story of what's happening in the lives of the children of Israel, Moses, and then we'll get into Joshua. Oh, it's going to be exciting. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.